Imagine you are sitting at a high-end steakhouse on a Friday night. The lighting is dim, the leather booths are plush, and the air smells like expensive bourbon and success. At the table next to you is a man in his late 30s. He is wearing a tailored suit that probably cost $3,000. On his wrist is a glistening Swiss watch that retails for $15,000. When the check comes, he tosses down a metal credit card with a heavy clink, laughing loudly at a joke while his hand slightly trembles as he signs the receipt. Outside, the valet pulls up his matte black European SUV. To everyone in that restaurant, that man has arrived. He is the vision of the American dream. But if you could look behind the curtain, you would see a different story. That SUV is a lease with a monthly payment of $1,400. The watch is financed at 18% interest. The tailored suit is a shield covering the fact that his savings account holds exactly $412. He is not wealthy. He is a high-performance athlete in the sport of looking rich. And he is one bad Tuesday away from total collapse. Now, imagine another person. This person is driving a 7-year-old Toyota that is meticulously clean. They are wearing a plain t-shirt from Target and a pair of jeans they have owned since 2018. They eat at home 5 nights a week. If you saw them in line at the grocery store, you wouldn't give them a second look. You might even feel a little bit of pity for them. But this person has a secret. Their brokerage account just crossed 7 figures. They own their time. They sleep 10 hours a night because they don't owe anyone a single cent. This is the central conflict of modern American life. We are living in an era where looking successful has become more important than actually being successful. In the world of social media and instant gratification, we are being sold a performance. We are being told that if we don't display our wealth, it doesn't exist. But today, we are going to look at the data that proves the exact opposite. We are going to explore why your life changes fundamentally the moment you stop trying to look rich, and I'm going to show you the brutal mathematics of the status trap that is keeping the middle class in a state of permanent fragility. Let us start with a concept we call the logo tax. In 2026, the average American household spends nearly $9,500 a year on categories driven almost entirely by aesthetic dissatisfaction. This includes fast fashion, home decor upgrades, and the latest consumer electronics. The logo tax is the premium you pay to advertise a brand that does not pay you. When you buy an $800 hoodie with a designer name across the chest, you are not paying for better cotton. You are paying for the right to tell strangers that you can afford an $800 hoodie. This is what psychologists call costly signaling. In the animal kingdom, a peacock grows a massive, heavy tail to show predators and mates that he is so strong and healthy he can survive even with a giant disadvantage. In the human kingdom, we do the same thing with debt. We buy the house that is 2 rooms too big and the car that is 2 tiers too expensive to signal to our tribe that we are winning. But unlike the peacock, our tail isn't grown with biological surplus. It is grown with high-interest loans. The moment you opt out of this signaling, something strange happens to your brain chemistry. When you stop caring what the person in the next car thinks about your dashboard, you reclaim a massive amount of cognitive bandwidth. Research shows that social comparison is one of the primary drivers of cortisol production. When you are constantly scanning your environment to see where you rank in the hierarchy, your brain is in a state of low-level fight or flight. You are stressed because you are trying to maintain a version of yourself that is, technically, a lie. But when you decide to look poor, or at least unremarkable, the pressure drops to 0. You stop being a target for the marketing machine. If you are satisfied with your 5-year-old phone, a 2-hour keynote presentation about a new camera lens has no power over you. If you are happy with your reliable sedan, the shiny dealership lot becomes just a collection of depreciating metal. You are no longer a customer to be harvested. You are an observer. Let us look at the math of this transition. Consider a household earning $120,000 a year. This is a great income, But in many American cities, it feels like just enough to get by. Why? Because a household at this level is expected to perform. They are expected to live in the nice zip code where the mortgage is $4,000. They are expected to drive 2 cars with combined payments of $1,200. They are expected to wear the right clothes and take the right vacations. By the time they finish performing their income, they have less than 5% left for actual wealth building. They are under-accumulators of wealth. They are rich on paper and broke in reality. Now, look at what happens when that same household decides to stop the show. They move to a neighborhood that is safe and clean but not prestigious, cutting their housing cost by $1,500. They drive used cars and save $1,000 a month in payments and insurance. They stop buying the designer labels and save another $500 a month. Suddenly, this household has $3,000 a month in found money. That is $36,000 a year. Invested in a simple total market index fund at an 8% return, that decision to stop looking rich is worth over $1.6 million over 20 years. The person in the tailored suit didn't just buy a suit. They bought a version of themselves that cost them $1.6 million in future freedom. This shift doesn't just happen in your brokerage account. It happens in the way you interact with the world every single day. There is a specific psychological freedom that comes from being invisible. In the financial world, we have a term for this, and it was made famous by a landmark study called the Millionaire Next Door. The researchers wanted to find where the wealthy people in America actually lived. They started in the high-end neighborhoods, looking for the mansions with the circular driveways and the iron gates. But when they got there, they found a lot of people who were under-accumulators of wealth. These were people with high incomes, but nearly zero net worth because they were spending every dollar to maintain the appearance of their zip code. The real millionaires, the ones with the 7- and 8-figure balances, were found in middle-class neighborhoods. They were the people living in a 3-bedroom ranch house that was paid off 15 years ago. They were the ones driving 10-year-old Fords and Chevrolets. They were the ones wearing plain clothes from warehouse clubs. These people are the prodigious accumulators of wealth, and the reason they are successful is that they have decoupled their ego from their consumption. In the Money Lab, we see this pattern repeat across every demographic. The person who is willing to look unremarkable for 10 years is the person who becomes untouchable for the next 40. Consider the concept of the hedonic treadmill. This is the biological reality that humans are remarkably good at adapting to new levels of comfort. When you get that first big promotion and move from a $500 a month apartment to a $2,000 a month luxury loft, the excitement lasts exactly 3 weeks. By month 2, the granite countertops are just where you put your mail. By month 6, the floor-to-ceiling windows are just something you have to clean. You have a new baseline for what normal looks like, but your happiness has returned to exactly where it was before the move. The status trap relies on you never realizing that the treadmill is moving. It convinces you that if you just reach the next tier, you will finally feel like you have made it. But the data shows that Americans who earn $400,000 a year report the exact same levels of financial stress as those earning $80,000. The numbers are larger, but the margin is the same. They are still living paycheck to paycheck because they are performing for a peer group that is also on the treadmill, running just as fast and feeling just as tired. When you stop trying to look rich, you step off the treadmill entirely. You stop measuring your progress against the highlight reel of someone else's life on social media. You start measuring your progress against your own goals. This is the transition from admiration to respect. Admiration is cheap. You can buy admiration with a metal credit card and a leased car. But respect is earned through discipline. It is the respect you have for yourself when you look at your bank balance and realize you have 3 years of runway sitting in liquid cash. It is the respect you feel when you realize you can walk away from a toxic job because you don't have a $2,000 truck payment keeping you in the chair. Let's talk about the cost of maintenance. Every status symbol you buy comes with a recurring invoice of time and energy. A luxury European vehicle doesn't just have a high payment, it has $1,200 brake jobs and $300 oil changes. It requires specialized mechanics and premium fuel. A massive house doesn't just have a large mortgage, it has higher property taxes, higher cooling bills, and more square footage that needs to be furnished, cleaned, and repaired. When you buy a status symbol, you are not just buying an object, you are volunteering for a second job as a caretaker for that object. The hidden millionaires understand that the most valuable thing you can own is your own time. And every hour you spend working to pay for a logo is an hour you have sold of your life. They choose the Toyota not because they can't afford the BMW, but because they have calculated that the BMW costs them 3 extra weeks of work per year just to maintain the difference. They would rather have the 3 weeks. There is also a social engineering aspect to looking poor. When you don't display your wealth, you change the nature of your relationships. People treat you based on your character rather than your assets. You don't become a target for predatory sales tactics. You don't have friends and family members approaching you for loans because they assume you are just as stretched as they are. You are insulated from the social taxes that come with visible prosperity. But the most powerful change happens in your decision-making. When you are not trying to look rich, you are no longer a captive audience for marketing. The average American is exposed to between 4,000 and 10,000 advertisements every single day. Most of these ads are designed to trigger a specific emotion, the feeling that you are inadequate. They tell you that your skin isn't clear enough, your car isn't fast enough, and your life isn't interesting enough. But these triggers only work if you are participating in the status game. If your identity is built on your net worth rather than your visible consumption, these advertisements lose their power. You see them for what they are, attempts to extract your capital to build someone else's empire. You become immune to the upgrade cycle. You don't need the new phone every 12 months because your current phone still completes the task. You don't need the trending fashion because you have already defined what enough looks like for your wardrobe. This is the secret weapon of the hidden wealthy. They have a high internal locus of control. They decide what matters. They don't let a marketing department in a different time zone tell them how to feel about their life. This clarity allows them to buy assets when everyone else is buying liabilities. While the neighbors are financing the latest furniture collection, the hidden millionaire is buying shares of the company that makes the furniture. They are collecting the dividends that their neighbors are paying. In the long run, the math is undeniable. The status trap is a wealth extraction machine that targets the middle class with surgical precision. It uses your own desire for belonging and significance against you. It convinces you that the road to success is paved with receipts. But the real road to success is paved with silence. It is built in the years when no one notices you. It is built in the decisions to say no to the performative expenses so you can say yes to your own freedom. So how do you actually make the transition from the performance of wealth to the reality of it? In our observations, we have developed a specific protocol for opting out of the status trap. It is a 4-step process designed to protect your capital and your sanity. Step 1. Run a status audit on your recurring expenses. Look at every bill you pay and ask one question: who is this for? If you are paying for a premium gym membership, but you only go for the brand name on the towel, that is a status tax. If you are paying for the highest tier of a cable or streaming package just because it feels like the adult thing to do, but you only watch 2 shows, that is a performance. Identify the top 3 expenses in your life that are driven by the fear of looking average, and eliminate them. This is not about deprivation. It is about efficiency. You are firing the people who are not contributing to your freedom. Step 2. Embrace the power of the unremarkable. Start making your large purchases based on utility and total cost of ownership rather than social signaling. When it is time for a new car, buy the 3-year-old version of a reliable brand that has already taken the massive depreciation hit. When you buy clothes, look for quality fabrics without visible branding. By removing the logos, you remove the target from your back. You become invisible to the predatory parts of the economy that want to sell you upgrades you do not need. Step 3. Define your point of enough. The status trap relies on the horizon always moving. If you do not have a specific number for your housing, your car, and your lifestyle, the marketing machine will provide one for you, and it will always be 10% higher than whatever you currently earn. Write down what a comfortable, dignified life looks like for you in concrete numbers. Once you hit that standard, every dollar of additional income should go toward assets, not upgrades. This is how you build a gap that eventually becomes a fortress. Step 4. Reinvest the signaling surplus. The money you save by not performing for others is not just extra money. It is seed capital for your independence. If you save $1,000 a month by choosing a modest life over a performative one, and you invest that money in a simple total market index fund, you are not just saving $12,000 a year. You are buying days, months, and eventually years of your life back. You are trading the admiration of strangers for the ownership of your own time. When you finally cross the threshold into true wealth, you will notice something fascinating about the people at the very top. The wealthiest individuals in America often look the most ordinary. They have reached a level where they no longer feel the need to prove their position because their position is undeniable. They're not looking for a reaction, they're looking for a return. And the greatest return they have ever received is the silence of a life without financial noise. Stopping the performance of wealth is the most difficult thing you will ever do because it requires you to be comfortable with being misunderstood. People will think you are struggling. They will think you have missed out. They will wonder why you haven't upgraded yet. But while they are worried about your appearance, you will be building something they can only dream of. You will be building a life where your worth is measured by the size of your options rather than the cost of your belongings. You will realize that the man in the $3,000 suit was not a winner. He was a prisoner. And the person in the 7-year-old Toyota was not a loser. They were the architect of their own freedom. The status trap is a game where the only way to win is to stop playing. So step off the treadmill. Stop the show. Build your wealth in the shadows and let the results speak for themselves when the time is right. If this perspective on wealth changed how you see your next purchase, hit that subscribe button. We are breaking down the hidden mechanics of money every week so you can stop being a consumer and start being a scientist of your own future. I will see you in the next one.